pandemic has caused some women to postpone routine cancer screenings. In fact, according to the Healthcare Cost Institute, mammograms were down nearly 80% in April and down 20% in July compared to 2019. Now, the two local doctors you're about to hear from say don't wait because early detection of breast cancer can save your life. It's part of our breast cancer awareness campaign, Live, Learn, Love, as we profile cancer survivors, share new treatment options, and show love to those battling breast cancer right now.
So there's actually a lot of new treatment coming out right now.
Dr. Saranya Chomsri, an oncologist at Mayo Clinic, says she's starting to see patients coming in with more advanced breast cancer.
We used to see patients with a couple of centimeter tumor, but now we started to see large, like 3, 4, 5 centimeter with big lymph node involvement more recently. And some of these patients actually told us that they felt the lump for a while, but they're concerned about getting COVID-19, so they did not come in.
Her advice, don't skip your annual mammogram. And if you find anything abnormal, see your doctor right away, because breast cancer caught early is very treatable.
We actually have developed a cancer vaccine that will stimulate patients' immune response to attack certain antigen in the cancer cells. We have several trials ongoing right now. So far, the treatment has been great and there's not a lot of toxicity.
Mayo Clinic is currently enrolling patients in several breast cancer vaccine clinical trials. While vaccine research is ongoing, Dr. Jennifer Crozier, medical oncologist with Baptist MD Anderson, says advancements in treatment mean that there are now more treatment options with fewer side effects.
2020 has actually been a very exciting year for breast cancer research and development. There's been multiple drugs approved over the last year over a broad spectrum of different types of breast cancer, new novel therapies, how we're treating patients. Also in the world of technology and development of new tests about breast cancer and risk stratification of patients has really evolved even just over the last year.
The key, she says, is catching breast cancer early.
The women have, on average, over 90% cure rate from breast cancer. When we're finding it early, it's very treatable, and most women actually avoid chemotherapy. So a lot of times it can be treated just with surgery, maybe radiation, maybe some anti-estrogen pills, but very treatable.